From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. Billings voters will make an important decision over the next few weeks as they decide the fate of the city's public safety mill levy. As we take a live look outside at the Magic City on this Thursday evening, Billings has grown considerably since the last time a public safety mill levy was passed. That was back in 2004. With police and fire responding to many more calls now. The proposed levy would revamp how the city pays for the rising cost of those services and repeals the 16-year-old levy that no longer pays the bills. Q2's Jay Cohn chats with the city's police and fire chiefs to hear their perspective.
The levy at this point is just not losing anything.
Billings Police Chief Rich St. John was hoping to be working on tackling the city's violent crime and homeless situation this year, but COVID-19 has forced a change of plans.
Because of the financial landscape right now, decision was made, let's just not go backwards. And so that's what the ask is. We're not adding anybody, we're not adding anything.
Not adding anything could prove tough on a department that's now on pace to handle a record number of calls this year.
We were about 95,000 last year. We're on pace to 100,000 this year, so we're busy. And if we lose ground, the criminal element hates a vacuum. Whether another, if we arrest somebody, somebody else will move in there, but that also holds true for police. If we end up having to pull resources back, somebody's going to fill that void.
The proposed public safety levy would raise 60 mils worth of property taxes. That's $12.2 million this year, money to be shared by the police and fire departments. It's $4 million more than the current levy raises.
You see the increase in calls. PD was talking about 95 to 100. We're 17,000 on track for 18,000 calls for service. So this is just maintaining.
And with more calls, the department's response time begins to slip.
Our response times are literally twice what the national standard is. Twice. That's important to us when you talk CPRs, getting to fires before they get out of control. That's a huge thing. We're assuming we can get there within 4 minutes. That's the goal and the standard. But if you have one truck out of one area, another engine has to come in and cover other calls in that area, you can kind of see the domino effect that we experience. Therefore, everybody's response times are delayed.
Another factor, the demands on today's fire department. Everything from rim rescues to emergency medical response to hazardous material spills, even water rescues. It's little wonder that the levy put in place 16 years ago falls short. Will Billings voters bite the bullet in the name of public safety, even amidst a pandemic? We'll find out 3 weeks from Tuesday. In Billings, Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
All right, thanks, Jay. And those mail ballots will be in the mail starting tomorrow. Well, Montana added another 143 new COVID-19 cases today. Yellowstone County topping the state with 43 of those cases and is now approaching the 900 mark in active cases. The state is nearing 1,800 active cases. 119 people are currently hospitalized in Montana. The death toll stands at 98. Governor Steve Bullock says contact testing limits the spread of COVID-19, despite the new guidance from the CDC this week. On its website, the CDC states if you've been in close contact within 6 feet of a person with a COVID-19 infection for at least 15 minutes but don't have symptoms, you don't necessarily need a test unless you're a vulnerable individual or your health care provider or state or local public health officials recommend that you take one. At his news conference this afternoon, the governor recommended taking the test.
I mean, it makes no sense to me, the new CDC guidelines, and to be candid, nor of those in the public health community that I've been speaking with. And just, if you don't know, the new CDC guidance says close contacts don't necessarily need a test. You know, in Montana, and we're putting out information, we're going to continue to do asymptomatic tests in close contacts. We'll be communicating that guidance to providers across the state.
The governor says Montana is a relatively low incidence state and asymptomatic testing can prevent large outbreaks. A Three Forks family woke up to a disturbing situation. A pair of their Trump for President flags set on fire close to their house. MTN's Cody Boyer met with the family to get to the bottom of the case and has the story.
On the morning of August 11th, the O'Rourke family woke up to something smoldering in their yard. When they looked out here in the front, you can even still see some pieces of it here. Both of their Trump flags were smoldering, charred, right here front yard. Thankfully, though, with cameras on the front, it was all caught on camera.
It's insane.
It could burn our house down.
It could.
Julie O'Rourke and her husband Robert remember hanging up the flags that Sunday night. That same night, a man swaying as he walked ripped them down.
It was only about 20 feet from our front porch.
Their 4 kids were sleeping just inside.
None of us knew. We woke up to a charred pile of flag in our yard and had no idea.
The video shows what happened next, with the man walking off as the fire continued to burn.
I felt violated. I felt that my kids and my life and my husband's life were in danger. It could have easily burned our house down. There was a fire ban at the time of the burning, and as close as it was to the house, it was very eerie.
The O'Rourkes immediately called the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office. Within a couple of days, Sheriff Brian Gutkin confirms they linked Julie's video to Eric Herrera and cited him for criminal mischief, a misdemeanor. Julie says while the action may have been politically charged, it's not about politics to her.
Our house was built in 1907. It's old. It's never been redone. It could have went up so fast and we would have never known.
The details of the case could result in more charges, but it's the sheriff's quick response that Julie says is a relief in the dark, along with one fact: this could have ended a lot worse.
That's the most important thing, is that we still have a roof over our head and our children are alive and safe.
In Three Forks, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Thanks, Cody. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mike Cooney unveiled his plan to boost public education in Montana today. In Missoula, Cooney called for an increased state spending on public schools, preschool, and state colleges. Cooney said Montana's system of public schools deserves more support during the coronavirus pandemic to ensure it has enough funds to carry out its education duties while keeping students and staff safe. His plan would freeze college tuition, increase state payments that can help increase teacher pay, and expand career and technical education. He also wants to adopt a borrower bill of rights to protect against predatory student loan practices. Cooney was joined by Democratic State Superintendent of Schools candidate Melissa Romano and Montana Federation of Public Employees President Amanda Curtis, who said Cooney will be a champion of public education.
My wife and I sent our 3 kids to public schools in Montana. My son is a teacher in the public school system. And I know how important it is that our public education system is here in Montana because I've lived it.
Cooney is running against Republican Greg Gianforte in the governor's race and Libertarian Lyman Bishop. Well, Operation Supply is a campaign drive coordinated by United Way of Yellowstone County to help students in Billings and surrounding schools. It's focused on stocking local pantries with school supplies and hygiene items for counselors and teachers to provide to students who are in need confidentially. Supplies are especially needed this year for students and PPE for classes. Now, the public is invited to help by contributing any of these items. Donations can be dropped by the United Way campus.
Last year when we were delivering it to the school pantry, which the kids can also access for food. And this kid came running in and he's like, I have a science test and I don't have any loose leaf paper and I'm not gonna be able to take it. And so we were just like in the moment digging through the boxes, finding a pack of loose leaf paper, and we gave it to him and he ran off. And it's just moments like that that really show the difference that we're making.
Though the drive is September 16th and 17th, people can donate online at any time. Monetary donations are in turn used to purchase additional school supplies by United Way. New campaign emphasizing the importance of wearing a mask is popping up on social media and on Montana's Crow Reservation. Youth-led organization Baluki Strong is sharing the images on Facebook. They feature reservation youth wearing a mask and traditional regalia. The organization caught the eye of We Are Montana, but despite the efforts, COVID is still hitting emergency levels across Indian country.
It's due to a number of causes. Our housing crisis, we don't have enough houses for the population, so we're having multi-generational families under the same roof. That contributes to the spread. Some of the houses don't have water or don't have good access to good water, and some houses don't have electricity.
Through this campaign, the organization is able to hand out masks in the community. Well, Hurricane Laura weakened to a tropical storm after leaving a wide path of destruction across Louisiana and Texas. Thousands are without electricity, and that storm is blamed for at least 6 deaths now. Courtney Zabowski has the latest from Galveston, Texas.
In Lake Charles, Louisiana, the Richardsons took in the destruction Hurricane Laura left behind.
Can't find anybody to talk to. Can't find a gas station. I was just trying to get home.
The couple evacuated their home in Vidor, Texas, some 50 miles to the west. Laura steamrolled into the Gulf over Cameron, Louisiana early Thursday as a Category 4 hurricane with 150-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rains.
We have sustained a tremendous amount of damage. We have thousands and thousands of our fellow citizens whose lives are upside down.
The storm tore apart countless homes and buildings and toppled power lines. In Louisiana, this train derailed and powerful gusts knocked over an RV. A fire broke out at this nearby petrochemical plant, sending smoke into the air throughout the day. Across Louisiana and here in Texas, crews are still working to assess the damage. Governor Greg Abbott toured East Texas by air and said it could have been far worse.
We would not be gathering here right now had we seen a 10-foot or higher foot storm surge.
But as the human toll is still being assessed, a family mourns in Leesville, Louisiana. 14-year-old Cynthia Miller died after a tree fell into her parents' bedroom where she was sheltering with her parents and sisters during the storm.
So I walked to try and find Cindy because she wasn't talking, and I tried to wake her up and she wouldn't wake up.
She was pinned under the tree.
She's pinned under the tree.
Her sister says Cynthia wanted to go to Harvard to become a marine microbiologist. Courtney Zabowski, CBS News, Galveston, Texas.
Families who live near the Louisiana chemical plant are being told not to leave their hurricane-damaged homes because of the dangerous fumes caused by burning chemicals. Still to come on the MTN 9 o'clock news, the Bozeman community comes together to say goodbye to Tom Duffy, a Bozeman pilot who tragically died while battling those wildfires out in Oregon. We'll tell you more about that, but first, Rob Griggs is here next with your full 7-day forecast.